Welcome to Real Talk. We're here to have those raw, unfiltered conversations about the things in life that matter the most. We're here to keep it real. I'm Pritha, a certified transformation coach, passionate about helping women turn setbacks into purpose, shed old identities, break free from self-sabotaging patterns, and step into their true potential after adversity.
And I'm Justine, an energy medicine practitioner and registered nurse. I empower working moms to find balance, create quality time, and confidently navigate life's challenges. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready for some real talk.
Let's get started.
Justine. So everyone, we're so glad that you've decided to join us today. Grab your coffee. For me, it's tea or whatever your favorite beverage is, and let's dive into some real talk. So today we're going to talk about those lingering thoughts and feelings that just don't seem to want to go away after a breakup. And you know the ones, is he treating the other person better? Is he thinking about me? Is he missing me? Did I do something wrong? Was he using me? How long was he planning this breakup for? And the list goes on.
Oh, yes. I cannot wait to dive into all these because it's so incredibly important to be able to understand where these are coming from. And it can be so draining to constantly have these thoughts like being played on repeat inside your head. And having these thoughts actually and not dealing with them can actually keep us in cycles and patterns of negativity and keep us attracting a person that's actually not right for us. So I cannot wait to dive into these.
Exactly. So let's dive in. So I'm going to start, Justine. Why do we often replay past conversations and scenarios in our head after a breakup? What's your thought on that?
This can be a really common experience for a lot of people. And just energetically speaking, your energy is not limited to time. So your body is the only thing that's really physically present in this time and this moment. But your energy can live in the past, can live in the future, and can even, depending on your beliefs, seep from different timelines. So if you have different parallel timelines, those can also be seeping through into your energy field. So when you are replaying these conversations energetically, you could actually be reliving that experience over and over and over again. And sometimes this happens because we're corded to another individual. So this means that our energy is attached to the other person. Somehow we're connected, and those are never good cordings to have. A lot of people, especially when I start working with new individuals, they're worried that they're going to like cut ties of love. But love is something that's eternal that can never be cut. Like love is the basis of who we are as individuals. So when you are courted to another human being, it's always courted on like negativity and codependence. So we have to go in there and clear those energy cords. And that also is just about getting really clear and getting really good with your energetic boundaries as well. Because if you're really set in your energetic boundaries, then nobody can really like plug into or cord into you. I
Yeah,
think I answered that. Okay.
no, that's so true. And the funny thing is when I was going through my last breakup, I wasn't really familiar or well versed on the energetic part or of healing. But then I started to be exposed to it a little bit more. And I realized that how much within myself of my energy that I was holding in or repressing and not letting go. And I never thought about it that way. And then when I met you, I've been learning so much. So no, that was a great answer. From my perspective, I love understanding how the brain works, and our brains, they're just wired to seek closure and understanding. And when we don't have all the answers, our brain just goes into overdrive, trying to analyze the situation, search for answers by replaying those scenarios and conversations over and over again. Even though it's not good for you, the brain doesn't know if it's good for you or not. It's a protection strategy. It's our mind's way of just making sense of a situation. So it replays those conversations. It's thinking that we missed something, thinking that, okay, if we overanalyze it more, we'll finally get the answers that we need. But here's the thing. Oftentimes, there is no clear answer. And that's what keeps us stuck in the loop. And when we replay those thoughts, we reinforce those neural pathways that are in our brain, making it harder to move on. And remember this, our brain wants to confirm what the things that we tell ourselves. I'll say that again. Our brain wants to confirm the things that we tell ourselves. And also it's not just about the conversations. You know, if you're in a relationship, you have daily routines that you had together. You know, you might have woken up and said good morning if you're living together, you know, maybe having coffee together or getting that good morning text, or maybe every Wednesday night is, you know, takeout night. Or for me, you know, Fridays was takeout sushi night with a glass of wine, sitting on a couch, you know, watching some TV together. When the relationship ends, those routines, they don't just disappear. So we have to consciously rewire our brains and form new habits and routines for ourselves. And yeah, it can be challenging, but it's a necessary step to help with our healing. So
Yeah. I love that you put it in terms of that actually, because after a breakup, like how much of yourself has to change. And when you think about it, even change on a regular, on your own, when you're willing and you're wanting to.
yeah,
Like, think about how difficult sometimes that is to establish a new routine, you know?
let's dive into our second question here for our listeners. So how did you find closure in situations where you didn't get the answers you were looking for? What helped you move on when the why questions went unanswered?
I think that was just getting clarity on what I want and what I need. Focusing on the things that I want out of a relationship, and focusing on where I want to go forward from here, and not keeping myself stuck on those whys, because what is that answer going to give me anyways? You know, even if I do have the answer of the why that it happened, it doesn't truly matter, because there's a lot of gaslighting, manipulation. Generally, you know, those things have absolutely nothing to do with you. And when you do have two people in a relationship, like, you guys will always mirror each other. You know, your outside world is a reflection of your inside world. So if there is stuff and chaos going on in your outside world, it's because you need to take a deep dive and see what's going on internally. You know, if there was somebody in my field that wasn't treating me right, it's because my boundaries were not upheld properly. So anytime I don't get closure, whether it's from friends, coworkers, past relationships, it's always, well, one, why do I need this closure? Why is it so important to me? And what do I need to do moving forward to ensure that this doesn't happen again, and to make sure that I'm getting what I want out of the relationships?
Yeah.
Especially when you go back and you kind of really focus in on the relationship and what was going on. Like, it's either this relationship just wasn't for you, or, you know, you're meant for something greater. Like, so don't keep yourself stuck in those situations where you're constantly asking why. Just move on to the next greatest thing.
Yeah. You said it perfectly. I firmly believe that, you know, life happens for you and not to you. So everything in the universe just balances out, and what's meant to be will be. For me, closure was accepting that I would never get the validation, the apologies, or the answers I wanted from him that would make me feel better. And that's okay. I realized that I didn't need his validation for my truth to be my truth. And
Yes.
waiting for answers from someone else and trying to get closure from someone else is giving my power away. And you know what? I realized that he did the best he could in this relationship, and that's based on what he went through, his past, his childhood wounds that was not healed. But that's not on me. What's on me is that I knew that I deserved and wanted a hell of a lot more from that relationship, and I wasn't getting it. So for me, I shifted my focus, instead of why did this happen, to what can I learn from this? And this mind shift is very empowering because it puts the control back on me. I like this saying: when someone shows you their true colors, don't try to repaint it.
Oh my
Focus
gosh. Yeah.
on what is and not what it was. So when your ex is moving on, regardless of your tears, your anger, your resentment, mine did a week later after being together for 5 years. So make the choice to shift the thoughts to something that moves you forward. life is precious. So why do we want to sit there and waste life's precious time focusing on someone that chose not to be with us? And as harsh as
Yes.
it sounds, like, ladies, we just need to have more self-respect for ourselves.
Hmm.
Somebody chose
And
not to be with us, and we're going to sit here spending all this endless time in pain ruminating over someone, giving our power away to someone else, when we can just become the best version of ourselves and become the one for ourselves.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then once we become the one for ourselves, that's when we will attract that person that's going to treat us the way that we want to be treated. And
exactly.
just going back to trying to change somebody, you know, when I see this all the time, especially when you go into like Facebook groups and like breakup groups, you know, people show you their true colors. People tell you what they do and don't want to provide. But so often as women, I think we try to say, like, oh, well, they'll change eventually. Oh, well, I can change them. And that in itself is the cause of so much heartbreak, because then people get into relationships with people that they're not actually fitted to be with because they're requesting and wanting something different from this relationship. And this person has clearly stated many, 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 many times, whether it's through actions or through words, that they are not willing to provide that, or they cannot provide that at that time. And instead of walking away, we still, like, as women, I'm sure there's a lot of men out there too, but this is just my personal experience being empathic and a woman, that we try to change people into what we want them to become, because we see them, you know, we pick these people for a reason. So we see their potential, we see what they can become. But until they're that, just let them be and figure that out on their own. Like you said, like the reason that you and your ex had problems was because of like his past trauma, his like childhood trauma that he never, you know, healed from. And it's the same thing with the majority of people walking out there. Like everybody has baggage and everybody has trauma that they need to heal from. And you can help somebody heal their trauma, of course. But again, like their relationship has to be aligned with yours, you know, like, and everybody's relationship looks different, whether that's family, friends, or partners. You know, if I have a friendship with somebody, like the give and take has to be equal. And
Yeah.
that goes the same in a relationship with a partner. The give and take has to be equal. Like I have to be getting as much as I'm giving, and I have to be giving as much as I'm getting. And a lot of the times we're just not, and we continue to just accept it instead of like taking in our power and, yeah, moving on to what's more suited for us, what's right for us,
Yeah.
and what will actually help us grow.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And the other thing to add to that is, like, there's different seasons in a relationship, and we're not the same person when we first met to,
Mhm.
even to a year from now. We evolve as people. And to me, the key is being able to support that person as they evolve,
Mhm.
and not hold them back, and being aligned in those value systems. And again, like, if you want to pursue a different hobby, is that person going to hold you back, or is that person going to support you and encourage you because that makes Justine happy. This fills my cup, and this is what I need to do for me. And I really would like you to support me on this because this means a lot to me. um
Yes.
Oftentimes that doesn't necessarily happen, you know um but yeah, it's so key for that support, to be there within couples. And oftentimes I'm seeing that's a big breakdown for a
Mhm.
number of reasons.
Yes.
Well, let's dive into our third and last question. So what's one of the steps someone can take to clearing those energetic blocks that happen after a breakup?
Well, the first thing that I always recommend everybody is awareness. So being aware of different types of energy, being aware that everybody has their own kind of energy field and what that looks like. And just being aware of any energetic ties that could be like keeping you held in the past.
Yeah.
And this will look like to whenever you kind of sit, you can feel your energy and what your energy is like when nobody else is around you. And then if somebody comes over into your energy field, you're kind of feel like a little shift, or you have these thoughts that start going in your mind. You're like, where is this coming from? I wasn't thinking about this a few seconds ago. And it's because it's somebody else's energy projecting onto yours. So just knowing that that is a possibility, because that would happen to me quite a lot when I was not in the presence of my ex. I would feel all the things that I needed to do. Like, I can't do this anymore. I need to get out. Like, I need to be on my own. I need to figure things out. And then the second that he would come back into my energy field, it's like I was absorbing all of his energy. And it's like all of a sudden I would think like, okay, well, maybe it's not that bad. Like, maybe we can work it out. And that's because it was his energy field taking over mine, and those were not the things that I actually wanted at that time. So just discerning your energy from others is incredibly important. Um, and then once you've kind of been able to get there, then you can feel in your body where there's areas of density or stickiness. And then just using visualization and breathwork techniques can really help to kind of clear that out. And you can even kind of visualize yourself like blowing up a balloon with all this like cloud of dark energy and lovingly sending that back to the person it belongs to, because that is not yours. You are not a holder of energy. You do not have to give your energy away. Your energy is yours. Nobody else should have access to that, and other people should not be invading your energy space either, because it can get very, very confusing. So just being set and aware of how other people's energy affects us. And it's not just simply on what am I trying to say here? So there's so many different ways that energy can affect us, because when in your physical energy field, you have your physiological energy. So that's your heart beating, your thoughts are running, your emotions are energy. There's energy coming off of the lights around you. There's energy coming off of the plants around you. So there's so much energy around us. And just knowing that all of that affects you. So when you are feeling really low in your energy, like going out and being in nature and just sitting in nature can help that, because you are kind of absorbing all the energy around you, which is good energy, and not absorbing the bad energy.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, like, I wasn't really exposed to all of this energetic healing before, until my last breakup. And one thing that I tried was a cord cutting ceremony. And as you said, the visualization technique of just envisioning this cord between my ex and I, and the power of cutting that and like removing that energy between us and clearing that blockage was, it's not meant that I'm trying to like get rid of him forever, but it's just that visualization of clearing any energy that is still attached to me from him, was a very powerful exercise. I remember the first time I did it, I cried, and then I did it again, I was better. So that visualization was extremely powerful. From, I love how we bounce off each other here, because you're focused on the energy perspective. And, now I'm going to talk about from a mindset perspective. So it's funny because from a mindset perspective too, it is about also self-awareness, and it's about challenging the thoughts that are keeping you stuck. And when those lingering thoughts keep coming up, ask yourself, is this thought really serving me, or is it keeping me in a loop of pain and constant rumination? If you are stuck in a loop, consciously choose to reframe it, and asking empowering questions is crucial. Asking the right questions will steer you away from what does not serve you, and it signals the brain to look for the right answers. So, for example, instead of thinking, why did he break up with me? Is he treating her better than me? You could shift that to, what did this experience teach me about myself and about what I want in a relationship going forward? This shift in perspective can just start to break all those things that are holding you back. Another powerful question is, when you catch yourself ruminating, ask yourself, is what I'm telling myself fact, or is this a story or an interpretation of what's happening? So remember when I said earlier, our brains want to confirm the things that we tell ourselves. So if you're constantly making up a story, because hey, the reality is we're never going to get the answers from him. Rarely is he actually going to come out and say, I'm in love with somebody else. Sometimes maybe they do, but rarely do they admit that there is somebody else. So you may not just get the answers that you need. So making up those stories is just telling your brain to confirm what you're telling yourself, which may or may not be true. And once you start to reframe those thoughts into something more empowering and shifting your energy to a more positive state, that unconscious part of your brain looks for positive things in your environment. It's so powerful. I was actually reading this book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And the author's name is Kamal Ravikant. And he reframed this quote by Hippocrates, who said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food, to let thoughts be thy medicine, and medicine be thy thoughts." It's a very powerful statement when you think about that, because all of our emotional state is controlled by our thoughts. If you're in a sad mood and then all of a sudden you see a funny meme or a funny TikTok video, all of a sudden you're thinking about that and you might be laughing or chuckling to yourself and you've just shifted, right?
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
so powerful. Yeah. So, I mean, it's very powerful. So thank you.
Oh, and I love that too, because just as, we have those like neurological pathways that bring us to the negative, like again, we're trying to form these new neurological pathways that make us seek out the positive in it. And
Yeah.
again, like that can take a lot of time. And I think maybe people have this expectation where all of a sudden it'll just flip and I won't think about them anymore, where that's not exactly the fact. Like you do still have to retrain your mind over and over again to be able to get out of those like negative thought patterns. And it does take a little bit of time, just like working out and exercising. It takes a little bit of time to build up your endurance, but once you get there, then it will become like second nature and you won't even have to think about it. Then automatically you'll just seek out the positive in every situation. And again, I like how you said that your thoughts control your emotions, and that's so true. Like everything originally starts out in the energy aspect. So something shakes your energy a little bit, and then that controls your thoughts, and then your thoughts control your emotions, and then we start seeing it in the physical aspect. So that's when we start seeing like the pains and the fatigue and the low energy. It all it all just kind of flows down that river.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's amazing how our body's physiology can just manifest itself, and how stress can manifest itself in all of these physical ailments, which I mean, you're well versed on that. But it's amazing when we just, what we resist persists, like that's why it's so important to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have a moment, because if you don't and you keep that bottled up, it's going to continuously persist within you.
Yes.
And yeah, it can manifest as, migraines, as stomach issues, gut issues, physical pain in your chest. It's have to deal with it. So,
Yes.
I mean, and this journey of healing, it's one that requires patience and self-compassion, and with the right support. If you're listening and these thoughts are something that you're struggling with, you just know that you're not alone on this journey. And there's so many tools and practice and resources out there that can help you move forward.
Yes. And one thing that I always want to suggest to everybody is never focus on the things that you don't want. So you just got out of a relationship. A lot of the times we think about like, I don't want this again. I don't want that. I don't want that. No, please do not do that. We need to think about all the positive things that we want out of a relationship. So this is my yes list. These are all the things that I want, and this is what I'm going to be focusing on. Because again, where focus Where focus goes, energy grows. So if you're constantly thinking about the negatives and that you don't want that, you don't want that, you don't want that, you have potential to attract that into your life because you're
Exactly.
constantly thinking about the negative. So we need to, again, like change that shift and only think about the positive things that we want out of life.
Yeah, you attract what you believe. So
Mhm.
focus on what you want, focus on what you're looking forward to.
Yes.
Focus on, in the work that I do with clients, it's about focusing on yourself and becoming the one so that you can attract the one. So
Mhm.
become the one and create your best life so that when you meet that person is the icing on the cake. It's like the cherry on
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
top.
like a happy complement to your
Yeah,
already amazing life.
because you're not looking for somebody to complete you. You're complete yourself.
Yes.
And
And I
then when
always
you
go
meet
back
that,
to that too, because yeah, and essentially you really can't. You can't find somebody to complete you. You need to be complete on your own because again, even if this is the person that's meant to be with you for the rest of your life, you are never guaranteed that time.
yeah,
Something could happen tomorrow and they can be taken away from you forever, not because you wanted that to happen. So you do like, and then again, that would be a whole other shift, but you have to be comfortable being on your own because you're never guaranteed anything.
yeah,
Mhm.
so true.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun. And to all everyone listening, thank you. And we hope that today's episode is giving you some insight and practical steps into breaking free from all those lingering thoughts after a breakup. Thank you for joining us today. And if you have any questions or topics that you'd like to cover us in the future, feel free to reach out to us. And yeah, anything you want to add, Justine?
Oh, just again, remember to keep moving forward and create the life that you truly want and you truly deserve. And if you would like to follow us on social media or work with us more one-on-one, we will have our social media handles in the description below.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next time. Thanks, Priya.
Thanks, Justine.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Real Talk. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to explore in future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We're here to support you every step of the way. You can connect with us on social media. You can find me at Breakthrough with Pritha.
And myself at theintuitive.rn. Until next time, keep moving forward and remember, you have the power to create the life you truly deserve. See you next time.